This is Benham Falls on the Deschutes. The access is Benham West Trailhead off of Conklin Road. You just hike up past that outhouse there to where the river gets calm, and then hike back up to the lot when you're done. There's a couple of warm-up drops before the main falls. This is the first one. JT showed me this eddy catch over here on the right side. It's a pretty fun thing to try, but it's easier just to stay in the main current and sort of hook around this shelf here to the right. And then you want to either get pretty far right, or if you're not quite far enough right, you can use a big left stroke there to keep your boat straight. Otherwise, you get spun out to the left. Then there's another warm-up drop coming up right here. This is another cool line JT showed me over on the far left. Just kind of like, it's hard to line your boat up right for that boof, but it's kind of fun to try. Easier move is just to stay on the right for that drop, and there's like a little auto boof flake right here. Coming on down the channel on the left, there's this surf wave up here. It's not that good a surf, but it's nice to do something to warm up before you hit the crux of Benham Falls. There's other eddy catches and things that people do in this area and below before you go into the crux. For the next move, I like to come in sort of towards the right, and I kind of like boof into the pillow of water coming off that rock. You just don't want to hit that rock, but I kind of boof towards the rock. And then for the next drop up here, there's a fun move where you kind of like thread the needle between some rocks on the left. It's pretty tricky to line your boat up just right for it. I like to be pretty straight, but with a right stroke coming over there, and then just line up for that gap right there. You can also go right of that ledge there if you want to. I think it's kind of more interesting to do the boof and try to line up for that gap, but this line here is an alternative if you want. And then coming out of this next eddy, you are going into the Benham Falls, the main drop. The main sequence in Benham is this steep series of drops. They're real close together. They're pretty technical. It's real fun, but you don't have a lot of time to adjust if things go wrong. So here's what it looks like from inside the boat. Coming around here, first move is just trying to stay out of that eddy on the right there, kind of skirt the edge of it. Then just punching through this wave, having the right angle for that, and then this one too. And then trying to get a good boof right here, but keep your boat straight, and then staying right up against the right wall for this part in here. The first thing to pay attention to is driving into this wave with just enough speed and angle that you kind of break through it and stay lined up for this next move here. If you're angled a little too far right for that wave, you can get spun out to the right, and it's not that big a deal. You have time to recover before the next move, but you kind of have to scramble to do it. If you're pointed a little too far left, you can get boggled around kind of down in here, and you definitely don't want to end up in that eddy on the left. If you're going for that eddy, it's fine, but if you're only partway in it, this part down at the bottom is nasty. That next move right after it, I just try to be like right in the middle of this wave right here and driving right, but this time I was on the left side of the wave and driving left, and I got away with it, so I guess there is some margin for error in there. The thing to look out for in the next drop is getting grabbed by this hole right here. If you're angled left and you don't get a really well-timed boof, that can happen pretty easily. The first several times I ran this rapid, I was kind of trying to come in at that angle, and it is a good line if you get your boof just right. It slows the next part down just a little bit. You're landing in some slightly slower water, and it lines you up really well for this gap right here. But lately I've been feeling like it's better to come in lined up pretty much dead center and come in on a left boof stroke, and it just feels like you can get away with having a much worse boof stroke if you do that. Like this time I totally mistimed that boof, and it seemed like it didn't matter at all. It just kind of shot me right through anyway. The thing to watch out for if you do come in on that left boof stroke is if you're too far right coming into this last gap here, it's easy to get pushed left. If you get pushed left of that rock, it's actually just fine. You just got to be careful not to get partway on that rock and flip off of it. Here's another shot of the whole sequence strung together. Just coming in here, I actually caught a little more of that eddy than I like to, but that's no big deal. Then just kind of punching to the right through that wave there, punching right again through this next wave, getting a boof up here, and then making a left to right move in this corridor here, kind of driving right around that rock there. JT and Roy catch some eddies in that main sequence there. I'm still just kind of trying to run the main lines clean, but I did follow JT into this one time. It's coming right of that rock around the first corner, set of left. It actually might be a little easier to go that side, but that's the only time I've ever done it. JT also will sort of ferry from that eddy across to this tiny one over on the left there. You see that little eddy he's in, it's pretty small. And then I've seen a few people go into the next eddy below it on the left. Roy just popped in there, right there, kind of like boofing off that stuff to the left of where I go. I haven't run Benham much higher than that, but last summer I got this footage of Axel and Ben and Lauren running it at 1580, and that looked incredible. Uh, at the levels I've run it, it feels maybe comparable difficulty to like Dylan or Lava at summer flows. Yeah, different rapid, different style sort of, but feels like similar intensity level. I think a lot of people run Benham like maybe up to 1,000 CFS or so, but I think not many people run it much higher than that. I think it's a really serious rapid at these flows. Like I was scared to run it. I was just afraid that I would get lost in there. With all that speed and power, I just was not confident that I'd be able to keep track of where I was in the rapid or where I needed to be. And also, I felt like even if I was in the right place, like some of those hits just looked so big that I felt like I could just get stood up on my tail and flipped over that way if I didn't hit them perfectly. So yeah, I decided to pass on it, but it was really cool to see these guys run it. On one of his laps, Axel ran this line kind of down the left, did a few boofs in there. He made it look beautiful, but it looked like you'd want to be really precise with your boat placement over there. But yeah, really, really awesome to see these guys run it at these flows. Like they're definitely really, really good kayakers. Anyway, after the main sequence, there's like this one more little wave train here. This eddy catch on the right is pretty fun, and then the takeout is like just right downstream of this on the left. There's a beach there, and you just carry your boat back up the hill to the parking lot, and that's Benham Falls.